In the vibrant village of Isiago, there lived a young princess named Muna. She was adored for her kindness and beauty. She was the only child of the king and the queen, a beloved treasure of the village. Though curious by nature, Muna always obeyed her family's one strict rule: never go outside at night. They warned her. According to them, the spirits loom the forest when the sun sets, and to disturb them will bring uncertain fate. During the village annual festival, she met a stranger named Kelechi. He was tall with a quiet intensity that captivated her. Kelechi seemed familiar with the village, speaking as if he had lived there his whole life. They spent the entire evening together, laughing and sharing stories. As the sun went down, Kelechi grew distant. "I must go," he murmured. "Will I see you again?" Muna asked, her voice hopeful. Kelechi smiled. "Meet me here tomorrow, just before nightfall." She went back to the palace, smiling and waiting for tomorrow to reach. The next day, she left the palace. Before she got to the place where Kelechi asked her to wait for him, he was already there. She was happy as she ran to sit beside him. And before nightfall, he left again. Each evening they met at a spot, but just before nightfall, he would go again. Muna felt herself drawn to Kelechi in ways she couldn't explain. Yet each time, as darkness approached, Kelechi would leave. Unable to contain her curiosity any longer, she finally asked, "Why do you always leave before night? What are you hiding?" Kelechi's gaze darkened, his voice barely above a whisper. "I am not of this world, Nuna. I was once a prince, but my life was cut short. Now I wander this forest, bound to it in spirit. I can only walk among the living before nightfall, after which I must return to the realm of the dead." Muna's heart pounded as a chill passed through her. Despite the revelation, she couldn't turn away. "I don't care," she said, her voice steady. "I love you, Kelechi. Spirit or human, it doesn't matter." Kelechi's face softened. "Then come with me tonight. There is a place I wish to show you," he said. Hand in hand, they ventured deep into the forest, arriving at a spot bathed in moonlight. In its center lay a very bright water surrounded by ancient trees. Kelechi knelt by the water and gestured for Muna to join him. "Kelechi, is this safe?" she whispered, feeling the ancient power of the place. "It is the boundary between worlds," Kelechi replied. "The only place where we can truly be together." Kelechi's eyes held a mixture of sorrow and hope. "But to join me, Muna, you must bind your spirit to mine. You would have to leave your family, your life, everything you know." Muna's heart ached as she considered the sacrifice, yet her love for Kelechi overwhelmed her doubt. She took his hands and replied, "I would rather be with you in your world than live in mine without you." Kelechi's face glowed with both joy and gratitude. "Then marry me tonight under the watchful moon." With a gentle touch, he wove a crown of flowers and placed it on her head, murmuring ancient words. The forest seemed to listen, shadows gathering around them, witnessing their bond. Suddenly, a figure emerged, a tall elderly man with wisdom on his face. Muna recognized him. He was one of the elders in the village who had passed away long ago. "Kelechi," the elder's voice echoed, "you know the law. No human shall join Huara unless they prove their houses." Kelechi looked to Muna, pleading, "If your love is true, Muna, walk alone to this pool at midnight. Show no fear, and you'll be mine forever. But if your heart shakes, you will be lost to the shadows." With a look of fear on Muna's face, she nodded, "I will do it." At midnight, Muna stood alone at the forest edge, the moon casting its glow. She stepped into the shadow, each footstep echoing her heartbeats. Whispers drifted from the trees, voice urging her to turn back. Shadows moved at the edge of the vision, watching her, testing her. "Muna," a voice hissed, calling and familiar. "Do not trust him. Return to the safety of your world." Fear gripped her, but she pushed it down, focusing on her love for Kelechi. "I belong to him," she said to herself. At the sacred spot, Kelechi waited for her, his face unreadable. By the time she came out, she went to him with a smile on her face. He took her hand, saying words that filled her with wrath. But as their bond was sealed, Muna felt his grip tighten and a cold look on his face. Kelechi, what is happening? She asked, trying to pull away. Kelechi's expression hardened. I told you I was bound, Muna. This is my only escape. Realization hit her. He was trading his life for hers. You are using me, Muna asked. Kelechi immediately nodded. I have waited for someone like you. Someone willing to trade her own life for mine. Terror struck her heart as shadows encircled them, saying her name in mournful echoes. But in that moment, she remembered the strength of her ancestors, the tale of bravery and resilience. Summoning her courage, she cried out, my ancestors, I call upon your protection. Please hear your daughter. At that moment, a bright light bursted from her, forcing Kelechi's grip on her to loosen. Muna, what have you done? He said. What are you doing to me? The shadows turned to him as they dragged him back into the pool, his face twisted in fury. Muna, he screamed, his voice filled with a last desperate rage as the water swallowed him. When the lights faded, Muna stood there alone. The pool surface was calm, as if nothing has happened. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of what she had survived. In this stillness, she knew her heart had remained pure and her spirit unbound. As dawn broke, she made her way back to the village, forever changed, yet deeply grateful to be among the living. She pleaded with her parents that she would never leave the palace again at night. Her mother gave her a big hug and everything came back to normal.